Today is our second day of our however long series of Let's Learn a New Skill. So today it's going to be strawberry jam. I didn't buy I bought the strawberries. We didn't grow them. Everything I'm using is store-bought. So just because you don't live on a homestead doesn't mean you can't make and can stuff. I'm using a water bath canner today, which is the easiest that I've heard. I also have a pressure canner that I'm going to learn some stuff on later. I have made this recipe 2 other times before. The first time turned out terrible. It wasn't terrible. It didn't turn out to be jam. So when I was reading my recipe, and I'll show you a picture of it here in a minute, I seen 8 cups of strawberries. And then later on the recipe, it says crush your strawberries. I did 8 cups of crushed strawberries, so therefore it didn't gel up, so we actually have strawberry syrup. So it's delicious on pancakes. We're also going to put it on some ice cream, so that's going to be fun. I did it a second time. I used 5 cups of crushed strawberries, which is what you're supposed to do, and it is amazing. So I'm by no means perfect. The next time I got paranoid about something else, so it's still a learning process. But let's take you all along on our 3rd time making strawberry jam. So this is the book I'm using to learn canning stuff. We'll leave a link in our Amazon so you can look at it and see if you want to get it on our Amazon. But what I did is after I did it the first time, I took and I highlighted stuff in here. So hopefully next time I remember those things and it'll click in, hey, don't forget to do that thing. Like one of the things, it gives you tips over here in the margin. It said to add butter so it doesn't overboil or it doesn't froth up as much. And so that's what I did. I've already got my water bath canner going. So my jars are already in there filled with cool water so that way they all come up to temp at the same time, because if you put them straight into the hot water, you may crack your jars. And the same thing with when you put our hot jam in there, if the jam is hot but the jars are too cold, they may crack. So we don't want to do that. Well, those come up to temp. We're going to crush all our strawberries and measure those, and then we'll go about the next part of the step. So there are several ways to buy this. I just buy this because it's the simplest way. You don't have to measure anything. You just open it and dump it in. You could definitely do it a little cheaper if you bought it in bulk and measured it. I just don't want to do that. 1, or that's 2, my bad. 4. We're gonna whisk this in. And now we bring this to a boil. And this is one of the longer parts of it, because you just sit here and stir it periodically and get it to boil. So when we get this up to a boil, we'll bring you back and, oh, I gotta add my butter. That's right. So the butter will keep it from frothing up as much. And it's not very much butter at all. It's just a little half teaspoon. So I've got the fan on, so hopefully it's not too loud. But you can see we're starting to boil. I want to get a nice, good rolling boil. Stirring it still frequently. And now we add 7 cups of sugar, which is just crazy. So anytime I have to measure something like this that's like a lot, I lose count and have to remeasure it like 4 or 5 times. So pre-measuring it and having it sitting in a bowl is the best thing for me. And we're going to move that sugar around and get it dissolved. And our jars have still been over there on simmer this whole time, so they're staying nice and hot. And we're going to bring this to another boil again, and like in my recipe, it tells us to make sure it can't be stirred away. Because you've seen that earlier, you'd start to see bubbles, and then I would stir it, and the bubbles would go away. So we want it to get to a boil where that's not happening. but I can still feel like clumps of sugar, so we're trying to get those stirred up right now. Almost there. See, I still stirred down that boil, so it's just a little bit longer. Once we get to that boil that can't be stirred down, we'll let it boil for a minute. So we're going to let it do its thing for about a minute. Turn our burner off. Remove from heat. So I'm gonna do my best to like skim this foam off. I am not very good at it, but I will say is not good as I am at it. Reagan said my jam was just fine, and the syrup, so I do the best I can. And I am not a very clean cook. I may keep a clean house sometimes, but I make a mess in the process and I'm constantly cleaning it. So, the next thing we're going to do is get a jar out, one at a time. We dump the water back into it, put it over here, and we fill it. We're looking for, the book says a 4th headspace, but I did another jar at half and it did so much better. So we're gonna go a 1/2 inch headspace. Before we put our jars on there, we want to make sure we debubble, which is something I'll forget to do in about half these jars. So I gotta try to remember. Debubble. Put our lid, and then put a ring to about fingertip tight. And then this jar will go sit over on my towel I have set up. And we'll put all the jars back in at the same time. This recipe is supposed to make 8 8-ounce jars. I did go ahead and do a couple extra just to be on the safe side. And these are 8-ounce jars. Half inch. Debubble. Oh, I know what I forgot to do on that last one. Forgot to wipe the rim if there's anything on it. There's our second one. Now everything goes back in the water bath canner. We put the lid on it and we bring it to a roaring boil. Once it is rolling boiling, we leave them process for 10 minutes.
So these have been going for 10 minutes and we're going to pull them out. set them over here. Hopefully, we'll hear them ping.
And I did it! We have 10 more jars of strawberry jam going into storage. These are going to sit for 24 hours and then we will remove the rings and do the hold test. I'll try to show that if I remember to. They're trying to ping, but I bought generic jars, so these aren't ball. The glass I'm not worried about. I was worried about the lids maybe not being as good. So we'll see what happens. They are trying to ping. I can hear them. So I think they're going to be okay. So I'm excited for them. And we'll get Reagan to do a taste test on the jam and tell you what he thinks. Give you the little spoon.
Oh, the little spoon, but the small amount. You nailed it. I mean, it's awesome. For never having made jelly before, or I guess experimenting a couple of times here, but having no background in jelly making, you nailed it.
Technically, it's jam.
Yeah, forget it.
We use it interchangeably in this house. But this goes to show strawberry jam and other jam recipes are beginner friendly and a good place to start with canning and specifically water bath canning. Do you agree?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I agree. So what's on the agenda for next month?
So there's a couple options. So I want y'all to comment what y'all want to see. Goat milk custard-based ice cream, goat milk lotion, or butter. Specifically a flavored butter that I make that we really like.
Yeah. Cowboy butter for steaks. It's fantastic. So let us know what you want to see because she's going to do it. And it's all a lot of fun. And things are looking up around here. This canning stuff has changed everything. The homesteading outlook, just it's awesome.
It's helped me get away, not feel like we have so much imposter syndrome.
Yeah, either way.
We shouldn't have had it to begin with considering how much meat we put in our freezers, but I still did have it a little bit.
Anytime you can take that next step towards a more self-sufficient, not a completely self-sufficient, but a more self-sufficient lifestyle, it makes you feel good, and it's always fun learning new skills.
So that's all we got for you today, guys. I hope you'll subscribe and join us on our next adventure. I'm Megan.
I'm Reagan.
We'll see you next time, guys. Bye.